Well, listen, are you having the same problems as me when it comes to assignments?
I
I find that students are constantly making the same mistakes all the time.
well, yeah, but it's not that there's one mistake. There's loads of mistakes that they're all making.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I think if I made I think the part of the problem is that they're not reading the brief. Do you know what I mean? You give a brief in week one or early on, and then a weeks to do it, and they don't, before they submit, they don't tick off what they were asked to do. So I get a lot of irrelevant things, or something that's submitted as AI as a quick fix at the end. That's what I'm finding. Yeah.
And do they? Sorry, just in relation to that, reading the brief. Do you find that I find that they're constantly asking questions and answering the wrong question. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think they dive in, like, so just give an example of mine, anything around marketing, they come up with a strategy, but they fail to do a situation analysis. So they come up with a creative idea and messaging, which could be amazing, but it doesn't link to the target audience or the objectives. So they kind of have their dinner before they make it. Do you know what I mean? They don't plan, and nothing is leveraged from existing information or current trends that are out there. So it doesn't fly. So when we get clients in to pitch, the client will always say, well, how'd you come up with this? And they give all this, which is amazing. But it's like, well, how do we know it's going to work? And how does it link with the objective that you've been asked to do in the target market? Because the client might say, we already do social media, or we already do events or whatever. And they say, oh no, I didn't really look at that. And in fact, we give them information around, you know, what the spend is in all the different channels so far, and what works and what doesn't work, coupled with an audit. So they have everything they need. So it's lack of research, I would say.
But does it start even before that?
Well, they do the bits they like. You know?
But the point is, just to go back to the first thing, is whether it's an exam or a project brief, they're not reading the requirements. Or they're not assimilating the requirements, and they're not remembering what they've been asked to do. So even if they read it and they start, then they might go off, or they might, as you say, you know, focus on a marketing strategy, whatever, and they start to answer what they want to answer without remembering, I've got an objective here.
Do you think that's bad time management though? Because everything seems to be last minute. It's a little bit like lastminute.com.
Like, I shouldn't answer this question.
Okay.
I have actually introduced like a task list, like to manage all of the projects. So they have task lists associated with each section, and each week I go through and see where they are. But even I find, and I've implemented this over the last couple of years, they still don't follow it because they don't ask enough questions, or they don't read the brief associated with the requirements. So they might have research on current trends. They might have one person, and I'd say, well, there's probably 20 papers there. So you want to split that up, you know, so but it's even, just slowly.
Yeah, I find that when it comes to just simple formatting of the document, the mistakes that they make in very first semester, I let them away with that, but they're still making the same mistakes like in their last semester when they're going to graduate. I feel like I beat my head against the wall.
But even when we tell them what the mistakes are.
Yeah, they forget.
But I have come across this with some of the institutions that I'm associated with, that when you give feedback, you know, so sometimes I'll accept drafts or whatever as we go along the way. But if a student has used AI, they haven't created it, so they don't implement the feedback because they haven't created it in the first place. So that's one area that should be addressed. And the other thing is that they don't read anything that you send them, or they don't ask a question. So they send you another revision, and the same feedback is required. So if it doesn't come in, right to your point, if it doesn't come in the right format, which is clearly, I just reject it, and I'd say not accepted, see your brief. Like, and whether that's spacing or font or whatever, like I'd be that forensic with it. So it's just a training thing with them, and you know.
But I think I don't think they realize the amount of marks they're losing.
Yeah.
Because of bad presentation, bad formatting, obviously not answering the assignment brief the way they're actually supposed to answer it. Or I gave an assignment there recently, and there was 3,000 words in it. They spent 2,500 words on the first task and 500 words on the second task. And I said, you can't, you can't get 100% for the first task because you wrote the most there. I said, you got to look at the marking scheme. Sorry, Shane.
I was going to say, and in regards to like, if I set an assignment and it's 1,500 words or 3,000 words, and I tell them it's 3,000 words plus or minus 10%, that's your word can put you, and some of them will still submit like 2,000 words, and some of them will 5,000 words, and it's not paying attention to the detail, in spite of the fact that they've been told. So I think you're right, Charlie. I think they're shedding marks.
Yeah, that's it exactly. And it's not just with the assignments. It's exam technique as well. You mentioned it already, Shane. It covers exams, basic handwriting, not reading the exam.
I'm not going to curse. Yeah.
Not reading the exam, the actual question, and I find it's getting more and more frustrating. I don't know.
It's like they want a quick fix. It's like I read the top line. Okay, I'm on it. I'm going. Well, no, just take a bit of time. And reflect actually what have you been asked to do? How can you approach it? I have also shown sample assignments to give an idea of the level of content and detail. And sometimes it's very useful where people are really struggling, but I don't do it all the time because I have in the past where people just copy and paste that and you're like, that's not your brief. So it's interpreting what you're trying to do. Yeah.
I was on YouTube there the other day, and I was just thinking about all of this because I was looking at the assignment brief and that, and I saw a YouTube channel. Now it was to do with motor mechanics, where there was just two mechanics who are actually kind of giving advice to people about the basic, putting pressure in the tire in your car, how to read. Have you ever tried to read the numbers on the side of a tire ball? What does 225 or stroke 56? What does that actually mean? And I was thinking, you know what? Between the three of us, we've got what, 60, 70 years of experience?
Okay. Well, I only been 5, right? So.
Okay, I'll take the other 54.
2 weeks. Remember, you're being observed, Jane.
But you're right, though. Like, we've got let's say decades. Decades is nice.
Decades.
Could be anything, right?
That's 6 or 7 decades. Huh?
Yeah, it's decades. It's not hundreds. It's decades. With decades of experience of suffering, right?
Yeah.
But it just goes. And I think, and there's not just us. I mean, I imagine other lecturers are having the same.
I'd say so. Yeah. I'd say so.
They're seeing the same stuff. It's not just my papers that people are setting out to write bad papers on. So, and again, there's some really good students, of course, as well. But actually, even the good ones seem to be shedding marks as well.
Oh yeah, no, it just in terms of formatting, there's a basic principle. You learn the principle. That's it. Never changes. Every assignment formatted, submitted the same way. But just going back to that podcast, would you be up for doing the podcast between us?
Yes, I think that's a great idea.
And I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, and it's just towards helping students get better grades. I mean, it's the basic stuff that we see all the time. That students, it's the same mistakes that they're making all the time. And I think it would be a great idea. Even if we only use it for our own students, you never know, other students might actually latch onto it.
I don't imagine that our own students or students in Ireland or in Dublin, for example, are unique in terms of the errors that they're making. I imagine there should be a lot of students out there who could potentially benefit from I don't know, it's an insight into the other side. I mean,
it is actually, that's it. You hit the nail right in the head. Why don't we call it that? Insight to the other side.
Insight to the other side, yeah.
Yeah, I actually could, insight to the other side. Yeah.
Because I guess I don't know about you. I mean, I'm trying to remember back to when I was in college, in the last century, and I never really thought about what the students, what the lecturer, my lecturers, were experiencing. Yeah, it would actually be useful to know.
Yeah. Okay, so let's say,
I agree.
Let's say this is the start of our podcast Right. So
Yeah.
this is
Of the media empire.
The birth of the global empire.
Birth,
Right.
yeah.
So I mean, what do we call it, or what would we call
What's the benefit to the students? The students get what? They get to score more.
it?
They
Think
get
better.
to score better.
Yeah,
Well, how to
better
get the
grades.
best marks from doing an assignment, and then maybe split it into whether it's an individual or whether it's a group, because the group dynamic is different as well.
Yeah, but we should cover both, shouldn't we?
Okay.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I suppose it's like you look where the weighting is for each section, like you do an exam paper as well. But really start at the basics around, creating a template. Start with the template for
Okay.
your assignment and all the different headings that are in the brief, the proper numbering. And then go through all the different sections, and then I suppose things to look out for. Things like what font have been asked for, do it from the start, spacing,
Yeah.
referencing type.
Yeah. I'm sorry for laughing, but I'm looking at my lunch over there. It's a ham sandwich. Why don't we call it a ham sandwich?
Yeah. It's very obvious, right? Basics.
I'll be the slimline bread. Shane, you can be the full bread.
The baguette.
The baguette. Kathy, you can be the ham in the middle.
Yeah.
With the ham in the middle. Yeah, sounds good to me. Yeah, but I agree. It just has to have something that's catchy and meaningful because
Well, at the center of what we're talking about is learning, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
and
There's
doing
nothing to
better.
do, huh?
And doing better, I suppose, like I will always say, you only want to do your assignment once.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
planning first. So I suppose, the pre-planning phase, the actual live phase of when you're doing it, and then the post phase. I think to split it into 3 different areas, like before you begin, here's the guides, at the live phase when you're just about to submit, and then afterwards, when you get your feedback.
Just to go off topic then for a second, right? I mean, I imagine that there's any number of discussions we could have, or conversations we could have around.
Oh, we could fill a volume.
Yeah.
Literally. I mean, if you look at it this way, look at the progression the student goes through from the very, very first day they walk into the classroom until the day they step on the stage to get their degree or their certificate or diploma. I mean, think about every semester. From semester 1, there's progression into, well, it should be, progression into semester 2, into year 2, year 3, and year 4. There's a whole awareness that we can create in terms of not so much getting better grades, but the learning that you need to develop. And that's the bit that we're actually going to help with them. That kind of learning, be more aware of this. Remember.
Yeah, I suppose it's just getting back to that post phase of when you get your feedback, how you apply it in the next stage.
But not just that, Patty, read the feedback.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Sometimes, and there's another area here about, us lecturers, how we get feedback written or voice feedback sometimes, little videos, there's other ways to do it that might have more of an impact. So I've started introducing videos and voice, particularly for students who English is not their first language. And I know even if they're in year 3 or whatever, they should be competent, but they don't always get it. So just different methods. So I suppose there's an area for us to try and make it a little bit easier for them to interpret the feedback and for them to take responsibility to actually read it or listen to it.
But then even with that adds on to the point that Shane was saying about there's so much stuff out there that we could actually make students aware of that ultimately all contributes to them becoming more professional, more disciplined, which then leads to getting better grades. Actually, there's a good name. Get better grades. Improve your grades.
Improve your grades.
Yeah.
Or is that too narrow?
Too many words.
Is that? Oh yeah. It's not catchy.
I suppose if we wanted to call it something, it has to be something snappy enough.
Okay.
Otherwise, we just sound like lecturers. Oh, that's not the point.
Well, I think that's the one thing that we don't want to do. I think we want to. How do we give the benefit of our experience from as you mentioned already, sitting on our side of the table?
Yeah.
Back to the students.
How do we help you perform better, basically?
Yeah.
How do we help you get more
you're
marks?
talking. Sorry, but so you're talking about going from 0 to hero in your assignments. Do you know what I mean? Like, from the starting point, right to the end.
Well, but that's a progression. Okay, there will be some students who they'll be the hero from day one, but there'll be some that will struggle. And I think again that's another topic that could be covered. That panic, day one, the fear. I'm scared. I'm afraid I'm going to look stupid or foolish.
Yeah.
And it's doing something around. Look, it's okay. We can wrap you up in a cushion here, and if you just listen to what we're saying to you, you will learn as you go on. Maybe we should include learn actually in the title.
Yeah, I think we should. I think we should include learn or learning, something around that, because that's what we're talking about. Because and just to go to your point, Catherine, I'd go from 0 to hero. Like, what we're talking about could be the difference for somebody between a pass and a fail. I mean, I'm sure we've all seen papers where, they're just not getting enough, and we can see where the errors are.
Yeah.
And actually, if they could correct some of those errors, that might give them the extra 4 or 5% they need to get to that pass, or to get from pass to a merit, or whatever grading system you're talking about, to just achieve that next level.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
So we're not about converting everybody into being an A student, because that's down to the individual and their work ethic and everything else.
Yes.
But what we want to do is we want to give people the ability to get the most out of what they have and where they are right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then if we only focused on, let's say, improve your grade, it's all about the number. It's all about the number at the end. Okay, so it doesn't really encapsulate the whole concept of what study actually is. But if you use the word learn or learning, it kind of encapsulates absolutely everything. It's actually not just focused on the grade. In fact, the grade that you get is the output of the learning that you've encountered over the course of the program. Okay, the learning pod.
So if we're talking about it, then what we would be doing is giving somebody the opportunity to learn, right?
Yeah.
About the stuff we're talking about to improve their performance. And I suppose the vehicle is, it's not that it's a podcast, it's the content is obviously what's important. It's just in the form of a podcast or a YouTube or whatever. That's the vehicle. Where are people going to consume it? So are they going to
YouTube is the only place, really.
Well, YouTube is a video, yeah. It doesn't just have to be video. It could be sound as well. It could be. I mean, I listen to podcasts, the same podcast that's on YouTube. I listen to it on my earphones on the way on the bike, for example.
Okay.
So it can be on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, whatever they're called. There are different platforms, but the idea is it's the content is helping the student. So the student is learning from the content.
Yes, they're learning from what we're saying.
Yeah.
So it's essentially it's got to be more relaxed. It's not us sitting in a formal.
So it's like a venue.
Yeah. Oh no.
Like a lounge, even.
A lounge.
A lounge, like a pub.
Learning lounge, even.
The learning lounge.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad. The learning lounge.
Yeah.
That's not bad at all, Kathy.
Yep, I like that. The learning lounge. So we want you to come to the learning lounge, where you're going to be able to, acquire. Not where you're going to learn, and hopefully that learning will help you, up a grade.
Exactly.
Okay.
But I think I think we have to be careful that we're not getting to where we're lecturing at them. No. If we keep it very much informal, actually, as you say, we're just sitting in having a coffee somewhere.
Just like this conversation.
Just like this conversation. And we can ask the other guys as well, you know, from their experiences, you know, to sit in with us and join us and get some students as well. Yeah, the learning round. Okay.
So what we want to try and do then is hold a series of conversations.
Yes.
And share those conversations so people can drop into the learning lounge, right? And to talk about presentations, to talk about time management, if we knew what that was. Or to talk about reading the assignment brief.
Yeah.
Okay.
Presentation skills.
Presentation skills.
What else I got?
Writing skills, exam prep.
Skills.
Exam prep.
Exam technique.
Performance, exam technique.
Yeah.
Handwriting. Can we talk about handwriting?
Handwriting.
Talk about handwriting, yeah. And you can talk about things like you know, using resources on Moodle.
Yeah.
You know, there's an awful lot of resources on Moodle that students don't look at.
And
the do's and don'ts of AI.
Yeah, and you know the other big one, and I found this quite often. They go online, which is fair enough. They go online, and they'll copy something from .com.
Yeah,
but they don't read it. But whatever they've copied and put into their assignment is actually not relevant in Ireland, or maybe not relevant in Europe because, let's say, some piece of legislation or whatever the case may be. So while they've done all the research, what they've actually put into their assignment is irrelevant. So again, it's all around, if you are researching online, you've got to be very, very careful about where you take the information from. It's not just a case of find it, copy it, paste it.
Yeah, that's authentic and
So there's a holistic element to this. You know, there's a whole range of little tools.
Yeah.
You know, that we're talking about. Okay, so in one sense, that kind of suits the idea of a lounge anyway, because it's not something somebody's going to pick up in one go. This needs to be an ongoing.
It is, yeah. It's a stepping stone.
Yeah.
So we could start with the basics. Okay, this is what you need to get through first semester. This is what you need to get through second semester. Okay, this is second year.
Day one, semester one.
Exactly. Yeah. And then it's what's it, day one, year 3.
Yeah.
Your graduation year, or day 1, year 4, your graduation year, depending on the length of the program.
So your final project.
Yeah.
Which might be a dissertation.
Yeah. Oh, actually, that would be good. You know, how to put together a good dissertation.
Yeah.
And then how to present it.
Yeah, you know, preparing for your Viva.
You're preparing for your Viva. Excellent. Okay.
All right. And then the other areas like the self-care and mental wellness throughout your
very
journey.
Yeah. Even skills, even related skills like, you know, how to survive as a student, budgeting, right? Or coping with, you know, some of the other pressures that are going to, because at the end of the day, you know, it could impact your exam, it could impact your performance and your assignment if you're not, you know, getting the proper rest and so on.
That's very interesting, because I was actually speaking with a student today, and you know, there's only a month left for submitting dissertations, and I said, you know, what's your plan in terms of, you know, your time management or work? And I'll be working right up to the hour. And I said, well, you're already 3 weeks behind, so it's not physically possible to do it. So your choices are to do that and possibly fail or get a low mark. You know what I mean? The effort. I suppose the application. Yeah, well, the application of themselves to commit to different time to do it, it won't just happen. It's not like a hobby, I suppose.
So, you know, I mean, some of this really, it's early adoption as well. I mean, there's no point in trying to come to fix something with hours to go, right? You know, what we're talking about is it goes back to sort of day 1, semester 1. We're talking about, you know, starting to learn about how to set up for success in college, really.
Yeah.
In education.
Actually,
it starts from day 1.
It's a little bit like hindsight. Oh, if I'd have known that, before I started, I would have done a better job. So what we're actually doing, or what we're going to do is we're going to take all the hindsight and we're going to give it to you before you get to the point where you're going to say, oh, I wish I knew that before I started.
So it's hindsight previewed.
Yes. It's like a prequel.
Prequel.
Yeah.
Actually, look, that I gotta go to class. That's a great idea. I'll tell you what, why don't we have a think about it?
Yeah.
And we can go back and chat.
Yeah. I think we're onto something now. I think there's something there.
Yeah, but we'll definitely go with the learning lounge. There's a nice ring off that.
Okay, good stuff. All right, good to talk.
I look forward to it, guys.
Yeah. Actually, come up with a subject areas or topical areas that we can actually chat and other people that might be willing to get involved.
Well, we've got students starting, first years starting in a month and a half's time, you know. So
yeah.
I think we need to start now.